Hello students, how are you today? Hope it's a good one for you so far. Got a couple of stories for you today. They're both about the same sort of bird. A bird that's called an emu. And an emu lives primarily in Australia, way on the other side of the world. Beautiful land, I am told. I've never been there, but I'd sure like to go sometime. But emus are there primarily, and they are huge birds. They are almost looking like ostriches, but like the ostrich, they have very small wings. They can run very fast, but they can't fly. And they can stand very tall, over 6 feet tall. Amazing birds. But I have two stories for you today about emus. One is called Edward the Emu, and the other is called Edwina the Emu. And we're going to start off reading about Edward the Emu. Now, before I start reading, let me show you a picture of a real emu. Can you see that okay? You see how tall it is and those big legs, very small little wings that couldn't lift a bird that heavy. So they can't fly. So that's the picture of an emu. You can see them in zoos, but not out in the open here. Okay, put this aside and let's get started. Edward the Emu. Edward the Emu. Written by Sheena Knowles and illustrated by Rod Clement. Edward the Emu was sick of the zoo. There was nowhere to go. There was nothing to do. And compared to the seals that lived right next door, well, being an emu was frankly a bore. So that night, when the zookeeper went home to bed, Edward jumped from his pen and he laughed as he said, "The seals are the best anybody can tell, so tomorrow I will just be a seal as well." The next morning at 9, when they opened the zoo, the seals were swimming, and Edward was too. He dived in the water and basked in the sun, and he balanced a ball on his beak just for fun. Well, Edward was really enjoying the day till he overheard someone behind the fence say, "The seals are always amusing, it's true, but the lion's the best thing to see at the zoo." So that night, when the zookeeper went home to bed, Edward jumped from the pool and he smiled as he said, "The lion is the best anybody can tell, so tomorrow I'll just be a lion as well." The next morning at 9, when they opened the zoo, the lions were roaring and Edward was too. He snarled at the ladies and growled at the men. Life was certainly grand for a lion in his den. Well, Edward was having a wonderful day till a man in the crowd had the gumption to say, "The lion's a beast I shall always detest. The snakes are the things that I like to see best." So that night when the zookeeper went home to bed, Edward crept from the cage, and he grinned as he said, "If the snakes are the best things, and that is what they say, then tomorrow I'll just be a snake for the day." Looks like that lion will be glad to get rid of Edward. Edward likes to sit on his head, or stand on his head, I guess. The next morning at 9, when they opened the zoo, the snakes were all hissing, and Edward was too. He slipped round the rocks. It was magic to see. Then he curled himself casually up round a tree. Does that look like a tree that he's curling up against? No, that's a big snake. Well, Edward was just warming up for the day when he overheard one of the visitors say, "The snakes are impressive, I know that it's true, but the emu's by far the best thing at the zoo." "The emu," gasped Edward. "My goodness, that's me. I'm the thing that gentleman most likes to see. Not the seals, the lions, the snakes, and the rest. It's Edward the emu he likes to see best." So that night, when the zookeeper went home to bed, Edward slipped from the cage and he laughed as he said, "It's the emu's the best, and that's easy then. Tomorrow I'm Edward the emu again." Edward ran to the place where he used to reside, but oh, what a shock when he clambered inside. He found himself suddenly come face to face with the emu they'd brought in to take Edward's place. The emus considered each other a while. Then the new emu said with a shy little smile, "Hello, I'm Edwina. It's nice meeting you. You're the best thing I've seen since I came to the zoo." The end. So Edward now has a good friend, doesn't he? A lady emu. Edward and Edwina. So, now that we've read about Edward, let's read about Edwina. Edwina the Emu, also written by Sheena Knowles and illustrated by Rod Clement. Edwina the Emu. There once were two emus who lived in the zoo. One was Edwina, and Edward was too. They played every day, there was never a fight, and they cuddled up close to keep warm every night. And they sat there one day, entwining their legs, and Edwina announced she'd laid 10 little eggs. "Yeek!" shouted Edward. He seemed to be choking. 10 little emus, you've got to be joking." "I'm not," said Edwina, "but don't get depressed. I'll look for a job. You stay on the nest." And that is an interesting thing about emus. Once the eggs are laid, it's the male emu, like Edward, that actually is on the nest for the majority of the time. An ad in the paper said, "Dance the ballet. If you've got the legs, we're willing to pay." Remember, emus have long legs. "Great," said Edwina, "that would be fine. I'll hop on a bus and I'll be there at 9. The director called out for the next ballerina, and onto the stage stepped the lovely Edwina. She whirled and she waltzed, she twirled and she leapt. Then she twisted her legs in a grand pirouette. Yeek! The man shouted. He seemed to be choking. An emu dance ballet, you've got to be joking. I'm not, said Edwina, but don't laugh at me. I'll find the right job soon. You just wait and see. An ad in the paper said, chimney to sweep. Stick your neck out, you could make a heap. I will, said Edwina. Now this will be fun. I'll hop on a bus and I'll be there by 1. Today you don't see many chimney sweeps. That's a job that people had actually cleaning out the inside of chimneys. And I think there is still one here in Lakeland, Florida, where I am, that still does that job, sweeping out the inside of chimneys. But is that a job for an emu? Well, let's find out. Up on the roof, the wind whistled about. I'm ready, the lady below shouted out. I'll just be a minute, Edwina called back. Then she pushed till she popped through, bristled and black. See her pushing down the chimney? Yeek, said the lady. She seemed to be choking. An emu sweep chimneys? You've got to be joking. I'm not, said Edwina, but don't laugh at me. I'll find the right job soon. You just wait and see. An ad in the paper said, waiter required. If you're quick on your feet, you're sure to be hired. Yes, said Edwina, that's perfect for me. I'll hop on a bus and I'll be there by 3. Edwina served tea to a man in a hat. Would you like me to bring you a meal with that? Yes, said the man. I'll have sausages fried with a couple of nice runny eggs on the side. Yeek, said Edwina. She seemed to be choking. You want to eat eggs? You've got to be joking. I'm not, said the man. Eating eggs is the best. Once I ate 10 of them straight from the nest. Edwina ran out. She ran into the street. It was true when she said she was quick on her feet. Taxi, she cried. Take me home. Make it fast. I know what the right job for me is at last. It was late when Edwina got back to the nest. You're late, muttered Edward, and I need a rest. You're right, said Edwina. From now on, we share. I'll sit on the nest. You pull up a chair. There once were 12 emus who lived in the zoo. One was Edwina, and Edward was 2. Then Fluffy and Scruffy and Sniffly Sneeze and Fatty and Footloose and Knobbly Knees and Lollipop Legs, Shortening and Squeak, and the last little emu, they called that one Yeek! The end. So now you know all about Edward the Emu and Edwina the Emu. And I think there may be other Edward and Edwina Emu stories, but I don't have those today. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you can talk about it a little bit, have fun with it, and we'll see you again real soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.